Hey, I'm Julian, leader of Worship and Creative, and I want to thank you for being a part of the Worship and Creative podcast where we talk about being a healthy creative. I hope that you were challenged and encouraged by our conversation today. Also, make sure you subscribe and leave a review so that we can get more connected with you.
You're too kind. You're too kind, man. Too kind.
Tim, hey, how you doing, bro?
Good, man. Good. Better now. Got coffee.
Yes.
Started the morning with a hike.
What do you drink?
Good to go. Cold. So I'm a simple guy, and everybody makes fun of this. It's Starbucks because I do like the burnt.
Consistency.
I gotta have the burnt. It's consistently burnt, right?
Yep.
All right. I'm a cold brew, almond milk, one pump of something guy.
Let's go.
Today is
of
mocha.
something.
One pump of mochas today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more simple than that. I do a triple espresso with coconut milk. That's it.
That's simple.
Or a cold brew.
That's simple. That's super simple.
Yeah. But hey, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to just have a conversation with us.
Good to be here with you.
And we're actually here at Mission Church in Arizona. And is it considered Gilbert, Arizona?
It's Gilbert, yeah.
Gilbert, Arizona.
Yeah.
It's like right on the edge, though, right?
It's right on the edge of Mesa. Yep.
This is a far drive for me, and I still come here. So it's a great place to be. But if you don't know anything about Mission Church, this church has been here for quite a while, right?
Quite a while.
Tell us about it.
20, I want to say 24 years. I think it's 20-something years.
We'll fact check that one.
Yeah, it's 20-something years.
Well, tell me a little bit about how did you end up at Mission, and just tell us about the church.
Oh, man. How I ended up at Mission. God is out. It's so loaded. It's like I want to say everything, but man, it all just comes back to God. You know, He places all these people in our lives that we have connections with and network with, and He moves us in and out of seasons to the next thing. And so for the Kaisers, this was the next thing. Man, what could I say about Mission? Mission is a thriving young church that is focused on just meeting people where they are, and I think that's what really did it for me.
Yep.
Because when I signed up, when I said yes to following Jesus, it was that simple to me. I just thought, hey, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be to meet the broken and to take care of widows and orphans, and I just considered it to be that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's this church. That's this church, not just on the weekends, but that's this church even through the week. We love it, man.
Yeah, that's good.
I could talk for hours about it.
Yeah. Well, the reason we set up right here is there's a big old sign right here behind us that says "For Everyone," and it's a very simple statement. You know, it's not very creative, to be honest with you. It's not like you sat in a room with a bunch of people and you just spat all this stuff out. Yeah. You probably did, and this is the one thing that just stuck. But here's what I'm going to tell you: For Everyone is the heart and soul of Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. And in a lot of Christians today, we spend a lot of time only focusing on the people that we want to focus on. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of churches that, and I talk about this in a lot of our stuff with Worship and Creative, is don't just build your teams off the people who look like you. Like that's so
good.
That's just not a place you want to be. And I've been in church, and I've been a leader in a church that's the way that we did it. And I found myself not feeling like it's the right thing to do. And there's people who have great potential, but we just don't make it for everyone. Here at Mission, that's like you can't miss it. You walk into the lobby and the first thing you see is for everyone. And I truly believe that as a Christian, as a pastor, as someone who loves the Lord with all his heart, I really believe that we as a church should truly be for everyone. So I really appreciate that. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that as we're talking about all the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But Tim, we on this podcast, we've been talking a lot about just being a healthy creative. And I want to dive into that a little bit today because this is a serious deal. And a lot of you guys know, I've talked about it a little bit. I've gone through some really hard times lately. And I didn't even know what to do, so much to the point where I'm praying and I don't hear the Lord. And I'm like, Lord, where are you? Please, God, give me an answer. I don't know what to do with my life. And my health, my personal mental health was struggling. And that's something as a pastor that I didn't really focus on too much because I was giving so much time and effort to the people that I forgot about myself, right? And we as pastors, we need to learn how to focus on our personal health and what fills us up. We give so much, but we forget to take time for ourselves. So today, as we talk about this, I want to just hear your input on what that takes for you as Tim. You know, everyone has their own perspective, but we want to hear Tim's perspective today on what that looks like. And so for you, have you gone through hard times as a pastor that made you go, I'm just going to go work at some car dealership and sell cars? I feel like that would be easier.
Oh yeah, man. That was, I mean, that's happened. I feel like that's happened all throughout ministry. Yeah, for me, it was not too long ago. I'm going, you know what? I'm just going to roll my toolbox back in a body shop and, and fix cars. And then the next level is, and make a lot more money.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
Man, we've been through those times. I think for me, what does it, Craig Rochelle, he says, the leader gets better, so does the team.
Yep.
I have always thought that to be, my mind translates that to better mentally.
Yeah.
First.
Yep.
Spiritually, physically, in our relationships but every time that I've heard that thing said, when the leader gets better, so do the teams, I just always put that into like a mentally and spiritually. So like this morning for me, a lot of people, I use the word reset a whole lot, even in my home.
Yep.
Somebody's got an attitude. Hey, do you need to go reset?
Yeah.
I think you might need to go reset.
Yeah.
Everything good? And we'll sit down and we'll talk and we'll listen to understand as parents, not listen to respond. That's huge.
Yep.
You do that with people, that'll just go next level.
Yeah.
But like this morning for me, I hike with a couple people. So this morning for me, it was, and I'm texting a couple buddies and they're like, bro, you get up at 4:30 in the morning and you're hitting the mountains. But that's the place where I find that voice. That's the place where my eyes see the beauty in creation. And that's the place where I'm reset.
Yep.
And I get to say, God, thank you for this. Also, it helps me to be creative. Like for me, I'm a guy that gets creative in creation.
Yeah.
So I start thinking of lyrics in my head and the things that I'm seeing, I'm trying to put words to it. And it's also where I do life with some people.
Yeah.
But that's what it is for me. I think finding your place and then disciplining yourself to be consistent to go to that place. I think that's good. That's the thing for me, man, because there's everything under the sun in this world that's going to say, I want your attention and I want it now.
All the time.
But the soul needs one thing to stay healthy, right? And we know what that one thing is. And so a lot of times hiking could take a back seat.
For sure.
Being out there, resetting with God could easily take a back seat. And it's just something that you have to fight for, prioritize.
That's it.
And you just have to discipline yourself.
Yeah.
Be consistent with it.
Yeah.
And then it'll just start to become, it'll become regular. One of my favorite things I heard the other day was start to pray on a regular basis, because as soon as you do, irregular things will start to happen on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the things that don't make sense. Like if we just start to prioritize all that time with God each and every day, all the things that just don't make sense, the things we can't explain, will start to happen.
Yeah.
You will become a healthier you.
So true.
By sitting more with Jesus. Like it's just, so that's what it is for me. It's hiking, man. It's outdoors. it's outdoors. It's books.
Yeah.
I'm a big leadership guy. I love extreme ownership. Big ownership guy.
That's good.
Yeah, just that, and then like the things that I learned, I love giving to people.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, check this out. Like, you got to hear this. You got to hear this line. If you applied this to your life, think if you just hit that alarm every morning and you got up and you read that over your life every morning, and things would start to change.
Motivation.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. You said something that's super key though. You said consistency. It takes you making the effort and fighting for the things that you need that make you healthy, and that's kind of where. I would say that's something that we don't hit on too much because we in the church working the way that we do, we're so busy, especially if you're a graphic designer, videographer, worship leader. Like, you're week to week. You're not working on a project for a couple months. Typically, you got Christmas and Easter, but every week you're having to come up with new content.
Yep.
You're doing new things.
Yep.
You're having to reset all the time. And so you have to truly fight for the ability to fill yourself up like that.
Yes.
And make that time. And we tend to forget about ourselves in those moments.
Yep.
You know, we forget to take the time to go hike. We forget the time to go golfing, whatever it is for you that fills you up. We forget about ourselves because we're so worried about the task at hand. And I always tell people this, any team I've ever led, anybody I've been around, when I see them killing themselves for the ministry, which I get, I put my heart and soul into everything that I do. And I think that your work matters. I really do. But at the end of the day, if you're not healthy, nothing matters. Like, you can just throw it all away because you're going to put yourself in a place where I hear a lot in the creative world is burnout.
Yep.
I hear that word a lot. It's really because you don't know how to prioritize what you're doing in your life. And for you said it so just perfect. You have to fight for the ability to fill yourself up. You have to fight for it.
Yes.
Fight for it. And if that means getting up at 4:30 in the morning, then get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Go to bed earlier and get up at 4:30 in the morning. You don't need that much sleep. You know, like at the end of the day, you can make the time and the effort to build that in your life, you know. But we're kind of like, especially me as a creative, I'm scattered. I'm thinking about everything. You know, my brain is like, okay, I got this and I got that, and we have Easter and we have this.
All of us
you
have
know,
ADD, man.
we're thinking, yeah, like it's real, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, I've had to fight for my brain to stay sane. And I've had to put things in place like a calendar, like Calendly. Hey, you want to talk to me? Yeah, for sure. I 100% want to talk to you. Here's a link.
Hit me with it. Yep.
Hit me with it.
Yep.
Tell me when you can meet in the times that I have available. When you do that, you're guarding yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're setting up parameters for you to be healthy in your thought life, in your home life, and all that stuff. So you like to hike. I've obviously seen you've got a motorcycle. You like to drive around and
Love to ride.
explore.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
a Jeep guy. I got my Jeep.
Okay.
I take the
It's a
top
Jeep
off.
thing?
Yeah, it's a Jeep thing. You know, that's kind of like for me. It's honestly, take the top off, let the wind blow, and I'm just like freedom. I can turn off everything in my brain. It's awesome.
Yep.
For you, that's what it is. But what about like when it comes to your family? Because you're a family man. You got, like, I was making a joke earlier. He's got like 20 kids. Like, they just keep coming. I don't know what happens, but he's got all these kids. He's got his wife. He's got a home that he's got to take care of. But he's also got his church. Like, how are you able to maintain all of that and stay in a healthy place?
You know what's crazy, man? I was thinking about this the other day, and I was actually talking to our lead guy here. I was talking to Kevin about this not too long ago. At any other place where God has had us, that's something that I've actually had to fight for, like really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like, I know that Christmas is coming, I know that Easter's coming, but man, and it's the balance and it's the juggling act of, right, the dichotomy of I've still got a family to lead first, right? First ministry, then the rest follows, right? Man, here, something that I heard walking right in the door, like really first week, is, and it was by two dudes, Joel Thomas and Kevin Reinheimer. They said, hey man, look, we just want to be clear on one thing. We've worked really, really hard to preserve this culture that I'm about to tell you in this one sentence, right? And I'm like, okay, talk to me, give it to me. I can't wait. I'd love to be an advocate and help. And they said, you'll never get in trouble for cheating the church. You will for cheating your family.
Yeah. Wow.
I had never heard.
Wow.
So I had always felt that.
Never.
Whole, right? Like, I don't, right. From like, at the top.
I feel like I've heard them say that, but I've never seen them actually put it into play. So do they put it into play? That's the question.
Yeah, man. Like this has honestly been some of the most stress-free ministry I've ever done in my life. So we're planning things for Christmas or Easter, and it's, okay, what is God saying to us for mission?
Yeah.
And the people that come to mission. Not what is, what we've always done, or the teams I've been a part of, and it's not a right or wrong, but it's wonder what Elevation's doing.
Yeah.
Wonder, and let's bring that here. It's just, it is really as simple as the people that make up mission.
Yep.
What is God leading this team creatively to do to give them moments, not necessarily an experience, but moments with Jesus in his story that they just won't forget.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a different conversation, man. That's a different kind of sandbox, if you will, for creatives. Like that's just completely, it's a blank slate. There's no, I'm going to copy this or copy that. It's, oh man, we can, that gets creatives excited, I think.
It does,
It gets me really excited, especially knowing that my family is valued first before anything that right? And that's what I feel like, Julian, that I've always said, and any other, worship leaders or creators watching, like that's one thing that I've always felt to wrestle with. Like, man, I just want this place to care for my family and me outside of what I do on a stage.
So true.
Outside of the job that I do, the tasks, the building sets, all that stuff. And this is a really, really unique place.
Wow.
Like it's made up of those leaders that just go, that's our priority. And Kevin actually said, I think one day we're going to be judged on that as leaders.
For sure.
And I'm like, okay.
I agree.
They take it serious.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
They take it really serious, and that gives teams, and it gives families, and a guy like me that's been doing this 17 years life.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say to someone who might be in a hostile environment where their work makes it to where that's the number one priority and not their family? Like how do you navigate that situation? Because what you just said blew my mind. Like I'm going to steal that for the rest of my life. You will never get in trouble for cheating on the church, but you will for your family. Like that that is the best line I've ever heard, and I pray to God that it stays true, because that's a lifesaver for pastors in ministry and workers in ministry.
Yeah.
Like your family has to be first. If you can't pastor your family, how are you going to pastor the people? What would you do? What would you say to someone who might be in a hostile environment that's not the situation?
Oh man, I think we've all been there before, right?
Absolutely.
We've all been there before. I think it's in those moments where I was just literally this morning, man, on this hike, and I'm talking to this guy that we're doing life, and I said, hey, everybody has a witness to something. The life that you live is a witness to something.
Yeah.
And every single decision that you make will either help your witness or hurt your witness. So in ministry, in previous ministries, I've been in that exact spot where I've felt that tension. And the thing that we want to do in that time is we become bitter. Yep. We become hurt. It's there that the enemy steals all of our thoughts, our brain space, our capacity. It's also there at that place that we lose sight of the most important thing. Well, when are we resetting and reconnecting, or just connecting with God in general? Well, when all that goes out the window because we're so worried about the other things, we start to actually lead in a different capacity. I would say it like we begin to lead in an unhealthy way that's not like us. And that's what it was for me in previous ministry. It was, I could start to feel Tim not being Tim. Yep. And
that's good.
And what I had to do, though, and what I would say to people watching, if you're there in that place, is don't leave the basics of which you know that are true. God is good. He is faithful. He'll never let you go through anything that you can't. 1 Corinthians 10:13, right? So believe that to be true, but also put things in place. It's okay to set a boundary to say, hey, man, today's Friday and it's my day off, you guys. I hope that you can respect it. I'm actually not going to have my phone on. And here's what you got to know. Like, if people can't respect that, well, then maybe God's going to move you. I was, again, like the stuff that I'm always reading, it's funny, me and my wife, we're always sending each other stuff back and forth, and just because we love leadership and we love people, and in the driest of seasons, we often are looking for water, like in the same exact spot, when God may be saying, hey, I'm going to move you over where there's some fresh water.
Yeah, that's good.
So anyway, I would just say, man, don't ever lose connecting with him first, but also just don't be afraid to set boundaries. Because your family is your first ministry. It's your relationship with God, it's your family, and then everything else from that place flows.
That's good.
It just happens, and I think God honors those kind of things, man. I think it's easier, right? It's easier to become bitter, to not want to show up at the work, to not want to go in and see these people and deal with these people, But one thing I'll never forget, hearing from one of my really, really good buds, is you just keep living your life and let that be caught. There is no lesson that you need to teach anyone. So don't, there's nothing to be taught. Let people catch the life that you live for Jesus. Set boundaries for your families.
Yep.
That's what I would say, man.
No, that's so good.
And put people around you that'll hold you accountable to that.
For sure.
And remind you, man.
Community.
Put people around you that are going, hey, I'm noticing you're getting off here, man. This doesn't seem like you.
So
you're
true.
Not, yeah.
Yeah, it's people that can be honest with you, that you're not going to be offended if they tell you the truth, you know.
Yeah.
Man, I got to tell you, we need to have a little bit more just the ability to say what we need to say. You know, like you need to have the confidence to just say the truth. If you're in a place where it's rough like that, and you're taking away from your family too much, and they're sacrificing too much, you need to have that conversation. Like, just go and have the conversation. If they let you go because of you having a real conversation, then so be it. Move on.
God is faithful.
Go to a better place, and God is faithful.
Yeah.
That happens. I 100% understand. You got to pay your bills, but man, like, your family comes first, and you just have the strength and the confidence to have the actual conversation with them, so that you can stay healthy and your family doesn't suffer because of it, you know. Now, it's being in ministry is a sacrifice. That's just what it is. And there's nothing we can do to get rid of that, unless the ministry does nothing and they stay right where they're at and they never grow. Then that's the way it'll be. But we need to be able to have those conversations and not be afraid to have them.
Yes.
And if you're afraid to have it, red flag. That's, I mean, right away, you're obviously seeing a red flag right away if you're afraid to have a conversation with your leader. So hopefully, if you're a leader out there, man, open your door.
Yes.
Let your people know. Say, hey, I want to make sure that you are in the best place for your life. My door is wide open. Tell me what's going on. That's the kind of leaders that we need to be. Open door leader who's willing to have those tough conversations and hear the truth from our people. You know. And so when you came to Mission, you heard those things. Now, every position, every job, everything that I've ever taken, there's always an upfront. This is what it's going to be, right? This is how amazing it's going to be and how much you're going to love it. And these are the expectations. Now, that's something that I feel like we all deal with. Now, for you as a leader, what's your expectation? Okay, so we hear that from the church. Here's the expectation. I want to know, what is your expectation when you go into a new job, a new place, a new church? What are you thinking in your head, and what are the expectations that you want to lay out? And how do you have that conversation with them?
Oh, man. My expectation is always, I think everyone will hit here, like it'll hit the real button, right?
Yep.
I'm always a little skeptical, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just as long as I've been doing ministry, you know, most of us know, right? Like, you sign up for a job, but it morphs into a lot of other things because it's ministry.
Yep.
And you know, so I think being here, that's what it is for me. Like, I right up front just try to go, hey, I want you to know that I'm just a simple guy, man. I'm a simple country kid. Like, I don't have it all put together.
Yeah.
I didn't go anywhere to get a degree. But with my life, like, I value leading and loving people just like Jesus.
Yeah.
No in-betweens for what my opinions, just like Jesus.
Yep.
The sinners of the worst, like, that's just what I just lay out. If that's not, you know, if we're going to have more conversations and I'm going to be invited to a table where we're just going to talk about systems and processes and not building those things for the people that we have to fit into, I'm going to be irritated really, really quick.
Yep.
And Tim's not going to be of value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not what he could be. So I try to lay all those things out. I hope is that what you're asking?
Yeah, 100%.
I try to lay all those things out. I also try to lay out, hey, I have 7 kids. And I married my best friend.
Yeah.
And so they matter to me. I date my wife every week. And those things are like sacred. I've learned to just go, they're sacred, they're untouchable.
There you go.
No one has access to those but me.
Yep.
And so they're just non-negotiables. It's why I was saying earlier, you know, if you've got a day or a couple days that's yours, you gotta be okay to lay that stuff out, to be upfront with clarity.
Yeah.
So no one's confused.
Yep.
And just say, hey, these are the days you can't touch it here. I'm not gonna answer, but I'll get back to you. Another thing that I would say is just I'm a big clarity guy. Like, my kids know this, and even in our home, my teams know it here.
Yep.
I'm a guy that says, if you're confused, let it be your fault. So if you're confused about something, just let it be your fault. That means, and I just go, did I ask enough questions? Did I not?
That's good. Yeah.
So if you err on that side, don't be afraid to ask all the questions, and don't be afraid to put all the things out and let people respond back.
That's good.
So I think that's what I would say, man.
Yeah.
I have my things, and I'm like, nope. But then I also, when I came to Mission, I'm looking for, what's the heartbeat of this church?
Yeah.
Who are the kind of people that are coming to Mission?
Yeah.
And I'm going,
don't just take the job just to take it.
No.
I think that's a huge mistake that we make over and over.
There are too many people, friends, there are too many people that they're in ministry, that they're at the place, and maybe you're there, that you're going, this just feels like a job.
Yeah.
It was never supposed to feel like a job. Never supposed to feel like a job. So I would say guard your heart against that as much as you can. I worked at a body shop for 12 years before ministry. That's what I went to school for. And I did some crazy ministry in the shop. Mm-hmm. At my job.
Yeah.
Ministry wasn't my job, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
What I've learned the last, how many months has it been now? 9 months of not being in full-time vocational ministry for me. I've done more ministry, hands-on ministry with people than I ever did as a pastor in the church, which is wild. I did.
Just blows my mind.
Here's the difference, though. The people came to me and seeking guidance or whatever it is, and I would sit down, talk, had my small groups, had all those things. But I've had more great conversations with non-believers now than I ever did in the church. And now I'm going back in my mind thinking, what did I ever, where did I miss it? For 15 years, I missed something because now I feel like I'm doing more ministry than I ever have.
Yeah.
I'm really having to try to be the light more than ever. And now I have way more sympathy for all the people who volunteered on my teams. And I'm like, I get it. Now I actually get it because I've been in full-time ministry since I was 18 years old. Graduate high school, full-time ministry. That's just what I did. So I didn't know any better. Now I'm getting a face full of world in my life, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm having to deal with real people. Wow, this is real. And so what I've learned is, if you're a pastor out there, man, don't hide in your office, don't hide in your church, don't hide in your ministry. We need to be getting out there and meeting people and having real conversations with people in the world. Go and actually be the hands and feet every single day, and I think it'll really grow you in your relationship with the Lord, in your ministry, in your understanding of where people are coming from.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes I'm like, why is that such a big deal? Now I'm like, oh, I get it.
It's a big deal.
It's a very big deal.
It's a very, very big deal.
And my perspective has shifted. So I'm grateful for this season in my life, and because I've learned more in the last 9 months of my life than I have in the last 15 years of my life when it comes to ministry. And I regret a lot of choices of what I've done in the past. And I regret a lot of jobs that I've taken just because it was an opportunity. Man, I wish I would have thought like that better, because there would have been jobs I wouldn't have taken if that was the case. If I would just say, okay, do I really believe in the heart and the ministry that this church is doing? And if I can truly get on board, then great. And then if I'm kind of questioning and I'm like, I'm not sure, I don't know about this, I don't know about that, but I took the job just because it's a great job, man, I probably would have saved myself a lot of heartache. And so that's why I will ask you that question. I'm saying, what is your expectation? Because so many of us, we go into jobs without any expectations. We want to get the opportunity, and we want a paycheck, right? Those are the two things that a lot of people seek. But really, when it comes to ministry, it's not just the job, man. It's your life. It's what you do. It's who you are every single day. And so learning how to balance that. And I'm telling you, the amount of people who have walked away from the Lord after being in ministry is sad. And I really believe it's because they had no idea what it actually takes to be a well-rounded person, and having their life in a place where they can truly be the priest of their home, the priest at the church, and really lead in all those areas. It's hard. It is hard to be able to do that. Pause. Awesome. Wait just a second. It's so great. I love this. This is life in the wild.
Heck yeah, man.
Cool.
Dropped a box and rolled.
she was like, hey. Okay. Okay. All right, let's move on to something real. You got something to say?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Super quick. What you said, I don't want to miss this because it took me a long time for God to give me this thought, and it's what you just talked about, right? Like this could one day be a book, right? Or we could unpack this thing even further. But I think that how I would put that into words is like most of us, me included, as young worship leaders and even young leaders, pastors, whatever that is, heading into ministry, it's so easy to walk. And I didn't realize this early on, man. So when you're talking about decisions that you regret, that you would go back, oh man, I'm with you. Like so many I would redo if I would have known this one thing.
If you would have known, yeah.
If I would have known this one thing. And so I hope you're listening, whoever's tuning in, but we can so easily walk trying to prove ourselves to someone. And it's when we walk that we're trying to prove ourselves to someone at a job, a boss, a coworker, the guy at the very, very top, that we lose walking approved. A work, right? Like in Timothy, we find this, like it's do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a workman who doesn't need to worry. But what happens is, all these, and this is why I have a passion for the next generation, all these young people coming in, is they're getting they're getting their leader going, hey, don't prove anything to me. I want to hear about your moments with Jesus because you're already approved by him.
Yeah, that's so
good.
There
isn't anything you can do for me that I'm going to go, man, wow, good. Like, do it as you're doing it for him. And I just think that's big, man. Like, stop trying to prove who you are because you're already approved in him.
That's so good.
It'll just change the way you live. It'll change the way you view work or ministry.
Yes.
Anyway.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Well, you hit the next point that I want to talk about. You actually said that's why you care about the next generation and having a guy that can speak into their life, right? You have a lot of young people who serve with you, and the ones that I know, I don't know all of them. I know that you're not a perfect guy and you have your mistakes, but the ones that I know, they love you, bro. Like they're here for it. They think Tim is the guy, right?
Yeah.
And I know the truth. I know you're not, but
far from it. Yeah, far from it.
What I do know is that you're right. We have a generation that's coming after us, and we have an opportunity right now to help those that are coming up not make the same mistakes that we made.
Yeah.
Like I said just a second ago, I wish I could go back and make a change in some of my decisions, right? Well, I can't.
Right.
It just is what it is. I can't make those changes. But what I can do is I can set up the next generation, which is the purpose of this podcast.
It is.
I want to help people make better decisions and be healthy and go the distance when it comes to ministry,
it's
right?
It's also discipleship.
It's discipleship.
And
that's what this is about. But you hit it right on the nose. There's a generation coming right after us. We have a responsibility. Tell me about that. Let's talk about that for a second. You have these young worship leaders that are coming up underneath you. You're giving them huge opportunity.
Yeah.
You're giving them the opportunity to lead in front of people. You're giving them the opportunity to make decisions. What is it that you do that helps them make those right decisions now so that they're not going back in the future? Because here's my thought. My thought and my hope is that what you're doing is setting them up so that they don't say, man, I wish I can go back and make a different decision.
Yeah.
Now, they're probably going to no matter what because you can't control their life. But what can we do as leaders where we're at now to help them go on a better path than we did?
Yeah. Step one, listen. Just listen, man.
Yeah.
Like, just listen. I had a couple monthlies. So I do monthlies with some, all of my guys. All of our team, and I had a couple, and a question that I love to ask is, where can I lead better?
Yeah.
Like, I'm the guy asking, right? And we can get caught up in this, I've done this for so many years, and I've done this, and I'm not gonna, right? But we've been around those leaders that it's like, they've never once asked, where could they get better anytime?
Yeah. Take note of that. Like, that's something that every leader should do.
Oh my goodness.
Every single leader should sit with their team and ask them, what could I do better?
Yeah.
Because if you're not asking that question, I'm telling you, there's things you could do better.
Yes.
And your team sees it, and you may not.
Yes.
Keep going.
That and what that does is, so there's a couple things. Listen, but create the safe place for feedback.
Yeah.
So and that's gonna be tough for a lot of us that are leaders, because what you have to do is you're ultimately saying, hey, pride today and ego today, you just have to go in the back seat.
Yep.
You don't get to ride up front with me today.
So true. Yep.
There may be a time where you get to ride up front. Hopefully it's to boast and you're prideful about something that Jesus did, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to have those off days, but like that's what that takes. So listen, create a safe place. Ask your teams, man, where can I lead you better? And allow them to give raw feedback and accept that. And something that shifted here at Mission, I've always wanted to do this. Excuse me. I've always wanted to do this. And what sets this up for a massive win is what I go back to at the very beginning, the top. It's the lead team, the people that lead this church, our board of servant leaders. All these guys are just like, and ladies are like, man, we're running after the hearts of, and everything just looks so much like Jesus.
Yeah.
So I then, as a leader, feel the freedom to go, oh, I'm going to switch some things up.
Yeah.
A goal and a vision that I would have loved to been able to do at other places that I didn't feel comfortable enough. I didn't feel like if it would just have stayed here with me.
Yep.
The top would have said, no, we're not about that.
For sure.
It is, and we've just brought on a couple young people, like student worship guy, and he's leading over here quite a bit, and so we're having this conversation, and he's like, hey, just like help me out, like onboarding, unpack, what's the vision, and we even walked our entire weekend team through this. So man, I hope this is gold for you, because it's like it's changed culture across the board at a massive level at this church. Full weekend team, and then it's even spilling into other rooms that those people lead in. And that thing that has shifted is the first time that we worship together is actually on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So we worship as a team on Wednesday. We don't rehearse on Wednesday. It's a mindset shift. It's a perspective flip.
Yep.
So we're going to worship together on Wednesday. Well, what does that mean? I hope you've had some moments with Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? And if you haven't, that's okay, because that's where we come and we get to fill up together. So that's the first time that we worship together. It's not looked at like a rehearsal. We're going to run the stuff on the weekend. But then what happens on the weekend is our entire team, the vision has switched, and the goal and the win and the thing that is put above everything else, that is high-fived, is just bring your moments with Jesus, because there'll always be enough. The people that are coming to your church, like, ask yourself that question. What do the people that come to church need most? To see, to hear, to feel the presence of Jesus. So we're crazy to think that we're just going to get up and we're going to keep running this down, and we're going to take the next generation and we're going to go do 3 songs up top, don't talk, keep it 12 minutes, move on, because we got that, we got this, and we got to remain. At some point, it has to shift.
Yeah.
Also, if you are tuning in and you're paying attention and you're listening to the next generation, they don't care about anything we've done.
Yep. It's so true.
They don't care.
That's so true.
All the things
they're like,
that
oh, cool, bro. Good
job. Yeah, cool. High five. I would have never noticed that there was too much haze, or that light was out, or that. They just don't care.
Yeah.
And so it's what I have found that is working here, which is just like, it makes my heart so happy, is that the thing that they actually do care about is looking like Jesus.
Yeah.
And so we shifted that not too long ago, and it's why you have a 19-year-old leading on stage and not singing to prove himself to people or get a wow, but opening his Bible and taking a minute just to say what this scripture means to him. And then by the time the end of the service is over, you have people going, man, that was so powerful, and we just didn't plan that way, man.
Yeah.
Like back when I started, we didn't plan that way. It was see what they're doing, and just do that. Yep. Let's do that here.
So true.
And so that's been the big shift, I think, and that to them says, holy smokes, that's attainable. That's attainable, man.
Yeah.
Like I can walk with Jesus, and I can show up on a Sunday, and I'm allowed to lead from that place. That's attainable.
Yeah.
That's actually stress-free.
For sure.
There's not a bunch of pressure to say all the right things and
be cookie cutter.
Man, it's life-giving.
Yeah.
In all fronts. It's life-giving to the weekend team, and it's life-giving to people that come, because it's really authentic.
Yeah. So true.
And sometimes it goes long. But what we're saying is, does it though? but did it go long? Like, right?
Yeah.
We're just checking ourselves on that. Like, but did it go long?
Yeah.
Like, it could have gone 5 more minutes. Like,
yeah,
it'd have been,
for sure.
So,
yeah.
I think that's huge. I think trust is big.
So how do you gain that trust?
Life. It can't just be, when you're at work. Hey man, how are you? It just can't be that.
So true.
It just can't be that, because
So
if it's that and you're not texting each other outside of work, and maybe some of you live far away. I mean, one of our MDs, he just bought a brand new home, like close to the church. And I think I was one of the first people to walk through it. I'm like, I want to do that. Like, I want to go see your home, man. Like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Like, you're so young and you've got a home and and you just got married so when you do that stuff and you mean it, like when you genuinely care for people's lives that you rub shoulders with, that you lead, man, that just translates in such a powerful way that no amount of planning could ever get you.
Yep.
And they talk about it.
Yep.
That's what
So
I'm finding
true.
out, is that people just talk about that.
So true.
Like, he cares. They actually care for me.
Yeah.
I'm going through this, and yeah, man. I think for me, it's life. It just can't be the job you're doing for me at this church. It has to be deeper than that.
Yeah.
And if it's not, they'll feel it. They'll know.
Yep.
They'll know. They'll know right away.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of what I've seen in this generation, they're really hungry just to be seen, not necessarily for their giftings, what they can do. Yes, they do want to see that too, right? Mm-hmm. But they want to be seen in the sense of you show up to their life, to, like you said, they got a brand new home for the first time. They're first time home buyers. They're just married. You show up. You're the one who marries them. You're the one who shows up when their baby is born. Mm-hmm. You're the one who shows up and says, hey, you guys should go on a date. We'll hold your baby. Like, that kind of stuff just brings humanity back to us as pastors, because, and here's like the effect that happens in the church. People come to church and they see pastors and they put them in this weird like pedestal type of, place where I get it. There's respect, and I get that. At the same time, bro, we're human. Like we have our issues and we have the things that we're dealing with. And we need to be seen that, yes, I might be a pastor, but I still have things that I'm going through that I'm dealing with.
Absolutely.
And when you show up to someone's kid's birthday party and you show up to their baby being born or their house or whatever it is that's in their life, and you're their leader, bro, that speaks more volumes than anything that you do in ministry. And so every single leader who's out there, and you have a team that you lead, and you don't even know their kid's name, or you've never shown up to one of their kids' events, or whatever it is in their life, show up.
Switch it up.
I'm telling you, just stop doing what you're doing. Start showing up in their life. I'm telling you, your leadership ability will go from here to here just by doing the simple thing, by showing up to where they're at in their life, And I'm telling you, I was a youth pastor for a lot of years too, and I remember I focused so much on what I preached and the content. And if I were to ask any of those kids, any of them, hey, do you remember any of the message I preached? They would probably go back to their journals and find something. Right? Because I made them take notes, but that's about it. Yeah. They probably would not remember one message, but I'll tell you what they will remember. Yeah. They will remember me taking time to sit down with them and talk to them. They will remember when I showed up to their lunch to eat with them. Yeah. They will remember two of my students, they ended up getting married like way later in life. They just got married. They just had their baby. They remember me telling them they should be together, like that kind of stuff. They remember that kind of stuff. Yeah. Me showing up and being there for their life. Yeah. So I'm telling you, your content, your messages that you're preaching, whatever song you're singing and song you write, great, amazing, should be done. You should do your very best. But at the end of the day, that's not what matters. That's not what's going to build great leaders. What's going to build great leaders is exactly what you said: listening and showing up and being there for them. Outside of the workplace, outside of the office, and that's the only place you ever say hi. That's the one thing that I remember growing up. I was so hungry to be seen by my pastor. I remember thinking, man, I just don't know if he ever sees me? Am I even alive? It's so funny. We had this one girl on our staff. She was like one of our preschool pastors, right? And I remember the pastor at the time greeted her, "Hey, thank you so much for coming to church today." Had no clue.
Oh no.
That she was on staff.
Oh.
In my mind, I'm like, this is exactly,
makes me cringe.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This should never happen. We should be in the lives of our people. We should know them by name. We should know their kids by name.
Yeah.
We should be in their life. And that, I'm telling you, you make that one change, just your level of leadership will grow so much. Not even that you're doing anything crazy leadership-wise. You're just showing up.
Yep.
That's a very simple way to be a good leader to the people that you lead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know about you, but this was a super good conversation,
Dude, so
bro.
good,
I really
so
appreciate it. I think we should do this again.
Let's do it again. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. If you don't already, do you have Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay, what is
I'm on
it?
there.
What's
You're
your
gonna
handle?
see a lot of outdoor stuff. It's Cactus Dad.
Cactus Dad.
Times 7.
Because you're an Arizona
X7,
boy
that's right.
now.
Cactus Dad X7.
Cactus Dad X times 7 because you don't have 20 kids. You have 7 kids.
Yep.
This guy has 7 kids. I have 2, and I feel like I'm losing my mind, right? I'm like, Lord, help me, please, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
7, maybe it's better to have more kids. I don't know.
I'm telling you, once you have 3, it's just like, what? No. Do we tell everybody?
Yeah. Make sure you follow him and check him out. If you are looking for a church in Arizona, make sure that you follow missionaz.org. Go to missionaz.org. Check out what they're doing. It's a great church. We love it. It's a huge part of this community and everything that's happening. But, man, Tim, thank you again. Really appreciate you just jumping on here with us and making this happen. And
yeah, bro.
Brought a ton of value to Worship and Creative. Like I said, make sure you subscribe, if you don't already, to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify. If you want to watch and you want to just put a face to the voice, you can get on YouTube as well, Worship and Creative. But thank you so much. We'll see you next time.